Hi everyone, it's Sorkin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to solve LeetCode 116 populating next right pointers in each node problem. So let's look at the problem. So what's the problem is about? So we are given a perfect binary tree where all leaves are on the same level and every parent has two children. The binary tree has the following definition. So left, right, and next, and also value of the node. So usually when we have a binary tree, we have a left and right node. So what's the next node? So the next node is we need to populate each node. So the next should be point to the node that is on its right. So, and we are given this example. So we have this binary tree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so for example, the first one, there is no next for the first one, so it points to null. So it points to null. This one is 2 points to 3 and 3 points to null, 4 points to 5, 5 points to 6, 6 to 7, and the 7 to null. So we need to set for each this next the node that is on its right, so next to it. So that's the problem definition. Let's see how we're going to solve this problem. All right, let's take this example and work on it. So we have 1, 2, 3. So it's our perfect binary tree. So we have 4, 5, and we have 6 and 7, right? So what we need to do, we need to find for each node the next node to it. So for this one is null, and for this one is pointing to 3, and this one is pointing to null, and so on. If we are looking at this problem, so we see that so we need to layer by layer go and explore each layer and point that one node to another. So basically the algorithm that we're going to use here is breadth first search and the BFS. So we are going to BFS this tree, and for each layer we are just gonna take the current node and the node that comes after it and point that to the current node to the next node, and that's it. That's it. How we are going to solve this problem. Okay, let's go to the solution part. All right, let's start. First thing that what we are gonna do, we are gonna check if root is equals to null. So then in that case, we are gonna return null. We are gonna return null. So yeah, that's corner case. So now what we need to do, we are gonna BFS our tree and point to each node to the next one. So for that, let's create a queue, and which will take us parameterize as a node. Let's just call it queue, and let's create a new linked list. Okay. What we're gonna do here? So what will be our approach? So first, let's add to the queue. Let's add our root, and also let's add null. Let's add null. Why we are adding null here? So let's say that the first layer, right? In the first layer, what we have the first node, which should point to the null. So for that reason, we are adding null there, and we are going to use that as we process further. So we are checking that while q is not empty, while queue is not empty, what we need to do here. What we need to do is, first thing, we need to take from the queue, we need to pull from the queue the first node. So let's just node 1, let's call it node 1. Right, and we are also taking the node that is right next to it, but we are not actually taking that from the queue, we are picking. So this method pick is gonna return us the next node without actually taking that from the queue. So we are gonna call it node 2 is equals to queue pick. Okay, so here we are setting that, okay, node 1 next is node 1 next is equals to node 2. So it's pointing to the node 2. All right. So then we are checking that the if node 1 if node 1 left is not equal to null, then we are adding to our queue, whatever node, whatever we have on the left, right? So we are adding left. Okay. So exactly the same we are gonna do for the right. Exactly the same we are gonna do for the right. So what should we do after that? So let's say that we are on the first layer, and we are on the first layer. We added we take the first node. So here we added root and we added null. So what's gonna happen? The first one will point to the null, and we also added two new the next layer, which means the two nodes. We added them to our queue. So we added them to our queue. If it equals to null, if n2, if node 2, so let's put that here. If the node 2 is if node 2 is equals to null, what's that mean? It means that we completed the first layer, or whatever layer, or n layer, right? So in that case, we need to take from the queue that, right? We need to take from the queue, we need to pull. So we finished the first layer, we are going to the next layer. So we are pulling from the queue, but also we need to check. We need to check that the if that was actually if that was the last node. So if we are, let's say that if we are on the last layer, and the n2 equals to null, it means that there is no more nodes left. So in that case, we can just return the results, whatever is there. So we are checking that the node 2, if the queue is empty, so which means that is empty, which means that actually there is no more nodes left. So we traversed whole tree. We traversed whole tree. So in that case, if it's empty, then we are returning if it's empty, we are returning the root. So we are traversed that. If it's not, then it means that we are going to the next layer. So let's say that we finalized our first layer, we are going to the next layer, and we need to add null at the far right element in the second layer, or let's say in the end layer. It should point to the null, right? So we are adding to our queue, we are adding here null. and that should be it. So at the end let's add here default root return root statement, and that should be it. Let's check it, see how it works. Okay, here we need to put right, adding the right. All right, great. It works as expected. Let's go over it one more time. So first thing that we do, we are checking the corner case. If root is null, then we are just returning null. Then we are breadth-first search our binary tree. So we are creating for that queue. And the first thing that we are doing, we are adding our root and we are adding null, because the first element, it will point to the null. So we are taking the first node and we are taking the second node. For the first one is pointing to the second one, which means that for the first layer it's null. Then we are checking if there is any child nodes. If there is, if there are child nodes, then we are adding them to our left and right. We are adding them to the queue. And then after that, we are checking if we are at the end of the layer. So it means that the n2 is equals to null. So if n2 is equals to null, then it means that we can pull it, and we need to add null to the end of the, let's say, second layer. Let's say we finished first one. We need to add the a null to the end of the second layer. And we are adding that here. We are checking if queue is empty, then it means that we already at the lowest layer, and we can we traverse all nodes, so we can return the root. If not, then we are adding null to the end of that that layer. So because the far right element should point to the null. That's it for this problem. I hope you like my content. If you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe my channel. See you next time. Bye.